Hello everyone. I'm continuing suffering from the lack of time this week, but let's talk about what's happening in Ukraine and especially what's happening around Kharkiv front line. And I'm going to talk about what's going to happen with the winter coming to Ukraine. Let's do it very quick. So around the Kherson area, I'm not going to speculate much. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other people that you're following that can explain what's happening in details. The main points are Vysokopilia has been taken. Now additional village taken has been acknowledged by the Ukrainian forces. And we definitely know that there is more pro-Ukrainian side is reporting more pushes coming here. And Arkhangelsk, not much is known, but it seems to be under Ukrainian control. At least most of it is. Then we have additional push inside of the Russian-controlled territory, and we know that Ukraine continuing pushing alongside the Inhulets River down this path. And apparently there is also additional push coming from this side. That's what's happening on Kherson. And let's quickly go around more interesting developments that happened yesterday. I'm hoping you are following because it was very exciting. So we have a situation around Balakliya, and if you didn't know what exactly like on tactical aspect happened around Balakliya, I've recommended in our community feed. I always try to recommend other channels if there is something that they're covering better. So Balakliya is a very important town in the Kharkiv region. To put it in perspective, this is not, I've called it a town and it was my mistake. This is not a village that most of what we're speaking about. This is not even a town. This is actually a city, not a very big city, but it is a city. So it's like quite a big urban settlement here. And most importantly, taking Vysokopilia is essentially opening up the ability to attack Izyum from the north. And I'm going to talk about Izyum a lot soon, because if you cut Vesele or even this whole line over here, this is the pretty much main supply line for the Russians around Izyum. Balakliya was very, very important. It's a key city in this area. And for a long time, there was a lot of Russians in this, and they knew that Ukrainians would want this city. So they always tried to keep them busy by pushing here south and then towards Husarivka. And Husarivka is a key settlement in the area for the Ukrainian side to control, because if Husarivka is taken, then a lot of these areas south here are going to start collapsing. And would you know, Ukrainians, they waited for Russians to essentially commence some kind of additional attack. And then they actually predicted that. And as this attack was essentially waning out and the forces of the Russians failed, Ukrainians advanced either through these forests or through these forests, and then they launched an attack in front. And Russians, they started kind of fall back, and then they got ambushed. At least that's how I understood this right now with a little bit more detail. Simultaneously, quite a strong Ukrainian force advanced through the north side and quickly captured Verbivka, and then started moving along the road, capturing Volokov Yar, and then also circling around Balakliya, both from the north and from the south, advancing here, and we have reports. And let's get this straight. I'm explaining all this information, how it is reported in the Russian media space. This is not what Ukrainians have been told. Actually, Ukrainians almost did not acknowledge anything. Most of the things that we're seeing, either someone posted videos of Ukrainian troops going through the villages, or we see Russian public spaces reporting on that one of the cities happened. So then we see that the Russians are also reporting that these cities are also being contested now, and actually Ukrainian troops are already in Morozivka. So what happened? The Russians were trying to tie the forces that Ukrainians had, and they thought that Ukrainians were mostly are going to be advancing through the south side here. So that's why they wanted to attack first, to tie them into the combat and into the positional warfare. As Ukrainians ambush these groups, it's important to understand that in this area, a lot of the forces have, like qualified forces, have been taken out and put in a Kherson direction, thinking that Ukrainians would not have enough forces to also have Kharkiv direction sustained, because we have also this whole line around Kharkiv direction, if you remember. And that was what they counted. So they left a lot of the troops in the city was essentially police force to police the local population. And a lot of the military force was consistent of rather poorly equipped and partially mobilized troops together with some kind of mercenaries, together with some kind of leftovers from the armies. So it was a very, very, very poorly... it was a mix of troops, essentially. And that was not producing a very good quality of troops at all. So Ukrainians just took advantage of this. As they saw that they were depleted, they rapidly counterattacked with an established forward position, and this caused a panic in the troops. So actually the troops, the Russian troops, they started retreating all the way up the roads. So all of the directions, they just started running. And this basically allowed Ukrainians to encircle Balakliya, and the police troops that were inside the city, they are now actually encircled. This is the positive part of the story. Now, what is the negative part? Well, the negative part is that we know that Russians have a lot of reinforcements. I already talked about Izyum. This is a major center, and I'm going to come back to it in a second. But we also know that in Belgorod Oblast, somewhere in this area, I forgot the name of the precisely of the city, is the Russian regrouping center. They have a lot of equipment and troops that are undergoing their rotation, and they are technically available if something really important happens. And we already had reports that Russians are reacting to what's happening in Balakliya, and they are already sending troops both from Izyum and also from this recouping area. And there is a lot of troops here. While Ukrainians are having a really good time advancing so far, in the coming days, we can see this slow down, and even maybe we can see some settlements being pushed back even all the way to Balakliya. And worst case scenario also obviously is that Balakliya might be recaptured by the Russians, but hopefully not. And let's quickly talk about Izyum and why is it important. So Izyum, we know that Izyum is basically the center of operations for the Russian troops on this whole theater. If Izyum falls, let's just put it this way. Izyum is a gateway to this whole area of Donbass, right, from the north. If Izyum falls, that means that's it. There is no going through. Last time Russia tried to get through Izyum, they put down so many forces around the Izyum area, it was not even funny. There's so many Russian bodies that were around this Izyum area here. It's incredible. So if Ukraine is able to recapture Izyum, firstly, they are completely destroying a lot of the command from these forces. And secondly, that means that, well, there is no going back from this side. And then any kind of chances of taking Donbass, period, are gone from this war. We also got reports from this side that Dovginke has also been taken by Ukrainians. And it seems that they're pushing up. I actually posted in my community feed that I got reports almost from all across the front line of Kharkiv. As it turns out, it was more around Balakliya, Dovginke here. It was actually also here a little bit. And I also got some notice here. So that's why I thought it was all across the front line, but it was actually kind of only these areas. We have a lot of really interesting things that might come, and we should be aware of them. Importantly, around Balakliya, I forgot to mention that there is this small settlement of Verbivka. And Verbivka is a very important settlement because it's a big ammo storage depot. There are dedicated ammo storage facilities in Verbivka, and it's been used by Ukrainians, and we also know that it's been used by the Russians. And when I'm saying ammo storage facilities, I'm saying that they are having really massive bunkers that cannot be just easily blown up by the artillery. They are proper army-grade bunkers to store weapons. And both Ukraine and Russians have been storing a lot of ammunition in there. So now, as Ukraine took Verbivka, it got access to all of these storage facilities, and they have reported a lot of weaponry has been taken. So that's very nice. But more importantly, let's talk about why this is happening. It's the Kherson decision problem. Because Russia made this political statement of let's put the troops inside Kherson, now this whole Russian army is crumbling. You cannot do so many and so big strategic mistakes and then hope that you're going to win the war with like over 1,000 kilometers front line. At some place, you're going to start getting weak. Russia thought that it would be okay to get this direction weaker, and they miscalculated. Again, it's not that they had chance to miscalculate because, again, political decision. And political decision is now costing Russia this war. And when I'm saying costing the war, I'm not saying that they're going to maybe lose a stalemate. It seems that Russia is slowly but surely, and their army and their front line is crumbling to the point that they're going to start losing militarily. So the Russian army might not just fall back and, like go back to the front lines and establish new defense, but they actually now are looking into complete military defeat. Because it seems they're following the doctrine essentially of no holding back. It doesn't seem that the Russians are to okay, we need to maybe fall back to something we can control a little bit more, to now that we have a lot of troops in Kherson, maybe we should give away some of the territory here, like it's not reason. No, they're still like let's push here, let's push this area, let's send more troops and push them this way, because we're still getting reports that Russians are still trying to advance, despite we know for sure they do not have reinforcements to advance. They are attacking up to the last man. It is crazy what it is doing. Like, all of the military analysts are grabbing their head and saying Russia is just on a suicide mission. They are running against a wall with knives and they are bleeding already. And they're doing it again and again and again and again. And they're just tripping all over themselves. And to this point, people are not sure if there is any possibility to stop this at all. There is a bet, obviously, that Russians are making is the winter warfare. But Ukrainian army is an army that is very capable and very knowledgeable about how to fight winter warfare. The two main things that the winter warfare will bring is a little bit harder logistics, and also a little bit, not a little bit, but significantly more oil consumption due to heating and explosion. So a lot more pressure will be on the logistical chains. And if we think about the fact that winter warfare is going to be a fight for who has the better logistical chains, well, I don't think that at this point we can state that Russian army and logistical chains and good logistical chains go well together. That's my assessment of winter warfare. I'm going to do it quite quickly just because I really have no time. Thank you so much. Sorry for being so short. See you next time.